Hello! I think everybody should be able to hear us now.
Can you hear us? Hello?
Can you hear
Happy
me
Monday?
and can you heal her? Heal her? Can you
Heal
heal
me?
Katie, please? Could you just heal her?
Any paladins?
we need bards and paladins. Hello, everybody. We apologize for starting late.
My fault.
I wasn't going to out you. I wasn't going to out you.
I mean, I'll out myself. It's my fault.
Okay. Well, welcome,
I had a
everyone.
really nice conversation with my mom, just so everybody knows.
Ooh, how is Mom?
She's good.
Good.
Yeah.
That's good to hear. I need to call mine.
Call
Mom,
your
if you're out there, I'm going to call you. All right, everyone. Hello. Welcome to the Dungeon Cooldown. I'm Ron Ogden.
And I'm Katie Michaels.
And today, we're here to answer all the questions you might have. If you've watched recently, Jared and I did a 4-hour-long intro sneak peek into the new season 2, coming up in the summertime. But before we begin, I want to thank everyone for showing up and being here, and especially want to thank our patrons. Without your support, shows like this one and our main show, The Dungeon Run, would not be possible. And neither would our newest show, Fortune and Fate, which will be playing this Wednesday at 6 p.m. PST right here on twitch.tv/The Dungeon Run. So make sure you don't miss that. Anything else I need to cover before we move forward, Katie?
I don't think so.
No, I think that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Pretty much it. Great.
I think you really did
I
a
have
great
been...
job.
I do want to let you guys know, I went to the Ren Fair yesterday here in
Ooh,
California.
I want to hear about it.
I went to the Pleasure Fair. It was only 85 degrees, but the sun was a demon. So as you can see, I do have a little bit of, I got a little bit of sun on my face here. I'm a bit more red than I am typically. No, it's because I was very good about applying sunscreen consistently throughout the day. Because I have to, but still got a little bit of sun, as you can see. It was a lot of fun. I drank a lot of mead.
Ooh.
Yeah, different flavors of mead: pineapple, mango, blackberry, mint. There was even a mead lemonade that I didn't try because that seemed weird to me.
I'm not a big mead fan, but
No?
I like the idea. Yeah. I've never
Well-
just had one that I like.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Mead can be very heavy, but these were very light. They were very light meads, almost like a sour. It was almost like a sour, which was
Well, I love a
pretty
sour
good.
beer.
Yeah, so they were pretty good. And I ate too much food. It's definitely what happened. I had a turkey leg. That was
Ooh,
fantastic.
that's a classic.
That was my breakfast. Was a turkey leg. And cheese fritters. There were some cheese fritters there that I really enjoyed. Oh, they have a little like strongman slay the giant game, and I rang the bell all 3 times. So I have video evidence. I have video evidence of this, which I'll
We're gonna
be
need to see it.
posting
We're
soon,
gonna
of
need to
course.
see it.
What's your weekend been like, Katie?
Well, it was good. I went and saw a comedy show last night. Which
How'd
was
it go?
fun. It was fun. It was fun.
Was it stand up or improv?
A stand up?
Ooh.
Yeah. Kind of a mixy one, but it was mainly stand up. And what else did I do? I feel like I did something else. I had a nice weekend. The weather was really nice in LA. Wasn't too hot.
It was. Yep.
Which is really nice. It's like the perfect time of year here, where
Yes.
it's warm but it's not sweltering.
I'm told like 15 years ago, this would be like the everyday of LA, where it would be, it's nice and windy. It's about 70s, and the sun is out. We got out of the Pleasure Fair yesterday. We're like, man, it's only 88 degrees out there, but whew. And my Dutch one of my Dutch friends was like, yeah, but you know, the world has warmed in the last 10 years. I'm like, oh, right. Yeah. Keep forgetting that that's happening. Forget that reality is real.
That is here.
Had a great time, though. Had a great time. If you have a chance to go to the Ren Fair, they're all over the country. I know there's also one I went to often in Atlanta during this time in the South. So make sure you guys, if you've never been to a Ren Fair, I highly recommend you go just to experience what it's like. It's a lot of fun, and I promise you, the people that are there are going to welcome you with open arms. Find your people. That's what I did. Well, you should definitely go. You should definitely go.
Actually, I think I went to one when I was a kid, but it was like not a real big one. It was like I want to say like a school Ren Fair, but I don't know. It was at a school, but it wasn't a school then. So
yeah.
I don't know.
But they're interesting things to experience. So if you've never done that, you should definitely do that. All right. Well, we've only really got one question today from our patrons. So and it's for you, Katie.
Okay.
So
I'm here.
Yeah, it's a great thing you're here.
I think I showed up. I told my mom I gotta go.
Now that you have literally hundreds of hours of D&D experience, this question comes of Thomas Bickley. Under your belt, how do you think your approach to character creation will be different for your season 2 character compared to Lily? If you had to DM a campaign for the dungeon run, what sort of story would you want to tell? So let's start with that first question of how do you think your approach to character creation for season 2 will be different this time?
I'll be honest, I'm not sure my approach to character creation has changed a ton. The one big factor is that Ron, and Jared, I guess, made new races for the campaign. Yes. So one of the things was I did want to try and incorporate one of them because I thought it'd be fun to have one of us be playing one of the new races.
Indeed.
So that, I guess, is a different thing of like, oh, I know I want to play this special race, but I really prefer to create characters from like, what's my story? And then I figure out everything from there. I'm not a power gamer at all. Even after hundreds of hours of playing, that's just not what I enjoy about D&D. I will choose a weaker spell if I think it's more fun with my story.
Right.
Or a less powerful thing if I think it works better with my not like horribly so. I won't make myself just a bad character, but I'm my approach is like backstory story first, and then
what I like about the way that you do that stuff, especially from Lily and Gus or excuse me, not Gus. Was it Gus? Yes, Gus. Yeah, Gus and the others is you're the kind of player that we can always rely on being innovative with things that exist. And I think that really comes from your lack of experience, or the way I would prefer to probably say it is you're not burdened by the knowledge of rules. Does that make sense?
Uh-huh.
I think sometimes rules can be a burden, right? They can be overly restrictive and really not work well with storytelling sometimes.
Well, and I still feel that coming in now, now that now I do know the rules and I do know how to play, I can feel myself being like, well, this would be a stronger in battle. This will be a stronger spell, or this will make more sense, or like that. But that's not what's fun about it to me. So I really try to not get bogged down in that and remember that, to me, it's about the story and the character and what's fun, even if it doesn't create the most damage done. What's fun for this thing? Well, and I like the fact that we're playing within the I like negotiating within the rules of D&D, and I like pushing the boundaries of spells.
Absolutely.
To me, that's really fun, is because I like the way I think is so fun about D&D also is we all have the same player's handbook. We all have the same, we know the base rules. We all get the same words, but there's ways to interpret them differently, or there's creative ways to use them. So I think it's fun. I like watching people who use things in creative ways, and I try to do that.
Yeah, I would definitely call you a rule of cool player. Mm-hmm. Definitely. I have as a player, I like the rule of cool. And as a DM, I like to reward the rule of cool, especially if it fits within the story. So I think in season 2, you will see that you will be rewarded every time that you do that. At least that's my intention, is to reward the players when they choose to do that.
Yeah. I mean, I think Jeff was very good about
yes,
you got to justify it. You're not just gonna get cool because it's a cool move, but does it make sense?
Tell me why. Tell me why this is a good idea. Yeah, for sure. Which that's
whole,
a part.
Me charming a robot is very rule of cool.
right. Well, and you were also
I made eye contact with it, and I was the person to get shot. And technically, I mean, no, I don't know.
Well, exactly. Well, and you talk about like, well, I might choose something that doesn't do as much damage, and then you did that and ended up breaking the record for the amount of damage done to one target in the last season.
You never
So
know.
you never know. That's right.
I do like relying on my environment to use the spells within the environment. I think that's a fun challenge, like a fun puzzle to figure out. Like,
absolutely.
Okay, I'm here, so how can I use this environment with these spells and combo that? Like, that's where I think, especially playing a bard where damage isn't,
your focus.
My focus.
Right.
But distraction, and that doesn't mean I'm not in battle. That doesn't mean I never, even though I was kind of the party healer, I mean, you were starting to be at the end, but for most of our campaign, I was.
Yes, it was.
I was never, and we all talked about this, I was never going to just be the healer. And that was never the intention with Lily.
Right. Well, and choosing Bard kind of forces you to do that anyway, right?
Yeah.
Like Bard doesn't really function all that well as a pure healer. They're more utility than anything else.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we've got a question from Livid Lucas. Katie, did you make your character for the new campaign yet? And any other character backstory ideas?
Yeah. I mean, yes, I'm still in the process of making it, but like I said, I think we can tell them.
Yeah, that's you.
I'm going to play one of Ron's bear race, Ursaka. I'm very excited. And we talked about it last week. So yeah, I'm really excited about that. Playing a druid. Which I haven't played a lot of, so I'm really excited to learn.
And we didn't really have them in the last season either, so it'll be
that's kind of like, I see someone asked, I'm missing it out, like what my approach is, but that's also part of my approach is like, all right, what have I not done? Like for me, it's fun to do like explore new things, and what have we not seen within our dynamic of our group? We didn't have a druid, so I was like, oh, it'll be fun to be a druid and learn that, because they're still spellcaster, but it's very different than a bard.
Yes, right.
But I like the druid. I mean, I am very drawn to the things where I feel like I can be creative with their stuff, but I guess that's all of them. Really,
yeah, but druids are especially a lot of different options to take advantage of or to use.
Yeah.
Especially depending on what your subclass choice is. But with spells and wild shape and all of the other things that normally exist for everyone, there's going to be a lot of options.
Element play and environment adaptation, which I just think that'll be really rich with opportunity.
Well, and as we have announced, like that, the whole Northern Island is very, very primal and druidic in nature. So
and I'm excited to play a nature character. I think that'll be fun, and a bear.
David Gen Pro says very excited.
Very excited.
Very excited.
What I don't have yet is a name. So
you got to work on that.
Really got to work on that.
Somebody was like, what do you think the chances that the grave grapes and the candied souls are connected? I don't understand that question, Dasmir. I assume it was about something when I was eating gummy bears earlier. Ron, is it possible for my halfling Thomas to hug Uggo? I really like Uggo a lot. Well, thank you. Uggo likes other people a lot, and as long as you ask permission first, I'm sure Uggo would be more than happy to give anyone a hug that asks. So, take that as you will. And then Ken Bonds asks, are you saying that you're playing a spellcaster? Which you've already announced.
Also, it's funny you said Ken Bonds, because he said, my approach is to write a short story and convert the character into the game, which honestly is very close to what I feel I do, maybe not so formal, but I really find for me, focusing on stats first isn't a good approach for me. I like to really create like a kind of a bio for like, who's this person? And then go from there and fill in the details.
So. Now I know Thomas from our Patreon, Thomas Bickley, also asks, if you had to DM a campaign for the dungeon run, what sort of story or stories would you like to tell?
Oh my goodness. Well, I would be a very different DM, I feel like, than
Yes.
Jeff or Ron or Jared. I don't know. I really don't know. I'm very truthfully, I don't know if intimidated is the right word, but DMing to me feels like a whole nother thing. I think I would want to do something. I feel like mine would probably be sillier than what I just do.
A satirical campaign for sure.
Maybe, or like the situation would be different. I would definitely be a cool DM just because I like justification. I like hearing people's justification and like why are you doing that. I think that's fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to think about it to really like think about what story I would do.
Well, you should definitely think about
it
because you're definitely a good storyteller, and I know that makes for a good DM.
Yeah, it would be fun. I should challenge myself to do it at some point.
Well, let me know because I would play in that game. Would be more than happy. Yes, yeah. You heard it. You heard it. Yeah. She said it. She said it out loud. It is now recorded. Katie, do you have any advice for making poems or songs?
Well, it depends a little bit on your campaign, but what I found for Lily was trying to focus on like events that happened that stuck out to me. So like any moments that were like, I would make notes if I was like, that was funny, or that was sweet, or I liked this little, like we had a conversation and this was kind of the moral of the story. Cause I looked at Lily as like, she's a lore bard. So her legacy is spreading the story of this campaign basically. So like, really pulling from your other players and what you all are talking about and like bigger picture, taking the bigger picture, or sometimes maybe I guess it's like the really zoomed in picture, but finding things that stick out to you and speak to you and then working from there. As far as actually writing it, I don't know if I could like give any strong advice other than honestly, I feel like half the songs I wrote on the fly were just as good. Like, trust your gut. Mm-hmm. Like, I think if you just jot things down and don't judge yourself while you're doing it. Just jot it down and then go back and edit, but get your ideas out first. And number one technical tip is pull up a rhyming dictionary. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And a thesaurus.
Yes.
Thesaurus and rhyming dictionaries are so helpful when you're like, I want to say this thing, but this word is too many syllables, or this word's too few syllables, or this isn't poetic enough. Really, I use the thesaurus and the rhyming thing all the time.
So, absolutely. That's how I do it too. When I do rhymes and poems for D&D puzzles and whatnot, thesaurus is the number one thing I have open, and right after that is a rhyming dictionary for sure.
And also for songs, just practice making up songs to like what in the shower.
Yep.
I used to do musical improv, so I got a little bit practiced at like rhymes and just like putting a bridge or a chorus together quickly because you had to. But we had a accompanist who was accompanist. That's really hard for me to say.
Accompanist? It's hard for me to say. Apparently.
Accompanist.
I
think I'm leaving out a syllable.
Accompaniment?
An accompanist? Wow!
Somebody who plays music with you.
Somebody phonetically type out accompanist.
Accompanist. Well, you can try to rhyme with orange. That's another thing I've learned in improv is you can change the way you pronounce things to make them easier to rhyme. So instead of saying orange, I could say orange. And then I can rhyme with things like flange. Right? Right. Yeah. Brianna, exactly. Yeah. That's Eminem made it very clear that you could do that and it was okay. I did a lot of musical improv too, Katie, and one of the workshops I took at the various improv workshop meets that we did was somebody, I can't remember exactly what word that Beyonce rhymed with the same word, But they were like, if Beyonce can rhyme this word with the same word, then so can you. And I was like, okay, that's just like the Shakespeare. If Shakespeare can make up his own words, why can't I? And so look, don't have to always rhyme. Or if you want the rhyme to be the same word that you rhymed with, that you originally did the rhyme with, that's okay too. It's all going to be impressive when you're singing and making words up on the spot. It doesn't matter what you say, people are going to be impressed.
Oh, Sprinklewinkle. Accompanist. Thank you.
Thank you, Sprinkwinkle. Accompanist. I still can't. Accompanist. Aha! Accompanist.
Accompanist. I don't know why. It's like funny when you say something and then you get like it in your head that it's wrong, and then it's very hard to like course correct.
Or when you stare at words for so long, you're like, that word feels weird to me now.
Yep. Oh yeah. I don't know. Ron and I are both actors, so occasionally you'll get auditions and there'll be like a funny thing where you're like, oh, this is a one line, like for a commercial or something like that. And nothing gets you more in your head than having to say one line of dialogue. Truly, like saying like, I'll have fries with that. And then all of a sudden you're like, how do I say fries? Is that how you say fries? Fries?
What is the meaning of that? What is the meaning of that, though?
Do I know how to talk?
Yeah, what? Would you like fries with that? Damn it.
Okay, well, I do want to like tell people about these really cool Osaka bears, because I'm excited to play one, and I know we're teasing so much about the new campaign. So to tease, I'm playing a druid. I'm going to play an Osaka.
Alpine.
I can say my circle.
Yeah, that's up to you. I know you'll be playing an Alpine Osaka, unless you change
Alpine
it.
Osaka. You want to tell people about the Alpine Osaka?
Sure. Yeah, we could. We did it on Wednesday's show, but why not today as well? I didn't even anticipate that.
I mean, you can do like the shortened version, but
yeah, for sure. Okay, let me pull it up here. My creations. There was a question earlier about whether we'd be using any of the WOTC stuff, and WOTC being short for Wizards of the Coast. If we'd be using any of the actual D&D base world, absolutely we will. There will be a lot of that included in the world. It will not all be homebrew. There will be specific things that we choose to homebrew, and that may increase or decrease as we continue. It has a lot to do with what our players choose, and what because we are changing the way a little bit of how we are running this, and following again Sly Flourish's Return of the Lazy Dungeon Master. For those of you who don't know, great resource. Also a wonderful person to follow on Twitter if you do not. Lots of really great, useful world building information there if you are curious. Now for the Osaka, specifically your Alpine, we know that the Osaka originated in the frozen ice shelves of the Northumbria, where they speak Dwarven and practice the natural rites of Bahatha, their creator spirit of the Animus. Specifically, the Alpine, their ancestral origins hail from the Alpine regions of the Northern Island. Their fur tends to be darker colored within the black and gray spectrums. Your family groups are tight-knit and extensive, and for this reason, the Alpine Osaka tend to organize into family clans, with a primary family serving as wise and fair leaders. So these are the bear people that are based around black bears.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I like, because I grew up where there were lots of black bears.
Mm-hmm. And so you're accustomed to using the forest to your advantage. Lighter frame, which means you'll get a climb speed. Additionally, you'll get the insight skill as proficient, and you will be resistant to poison damage.
Okay.
So those are your benefits. They are noble peoples, and that live primarily on the northern island of Toss.
I'm excited. It's going to be fun to play a race that's like new. I don't know. It's new.
Yeah.
I don't know how I'm going to talk yet. That's like my biggest thing.
Yeah,
that's my voice.
Yeah, you do. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's always the biggest thing.
I'm playing for people curious. I'm playing a druid. I feel like this doesn't give away too much. A circle of the stars.
The constellation druid. Yeah.
Yeah.
Circle of stars. Yep.
Yeah. There's also there's a circle of dreams that I keep saying instead, and it's not that. It's circle of stars.
It's stars.
They're different.
They are.
It's really cool, and it's like I don't know a lot about it, so I'm very excited. And I've only played a druid a couple times. One was for a one shot, which I like kind of hardly count as playing anything because you really don't ever use their spells. It was when we frick and frick.
Yeah.
I was technically a druid in that, which it counts, but you know what I mean? Like I didn't really play it for a long extended time where you get to know the class. And I played once in my home campaign, a Circle of the Moon, which was fun. Which is like a wild shape heavy.
Yes.
Well, which is really
Circle
fun.
of the Moon is very wild shape heavy.
Yeah.
You get some of the cooler beasts earlier.
Yeah. But I'm excited to be playing a druid within this island, the section of the island that you and Jared have created that is very like earthy. I think it's gonna just like be icing on the cake.
It's gonna mean that you're heavily involved in what's going on, and that you're probably a little bit tuned in more than some others. But if you ever get to the southern island, that would be opposite, right? Is essentially how we've sort of laid it out for you. But I mean, the land is everywhere and plants are everywhere, so a druid is always going to be useful, especially when we're talking about elemental and that kind of influence. So it'll be very interesting to say. And Springwiggle said the same thing when you told me about the Ursaka druid of a Circle of the Stars. Is it related to Ursa Major or Minor at all? And I was like, it has to be, right? Like,
it's gotta be.
It's gotta be.
Gotta be in there.
Yeah.
I mean, also Ursa's a great name, so maybe
it is. Ursa is a great name. For me, I'm very obsessed with space and stars and stuff, and have been since I was a kid. The science thing, but Ursa Major and Minor were always really impactful to me because those are the ones you see most often where I was living. And so that's always been kind of an influence for me it was part of the influence of creating Bear People is, I love that Ursa, the root word for bear. And just wanted to, never had enough bear people. They were all werebears, which is fine. Like, I like werebears. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with a werebear.
Different vibe. Yeah,
it's a totally different vibe. It's a disease rather than, I'm this is who I am. I am a bear. And Ron's a bear. So if you haven't met me, I'm a big burly guy.
Oh, hey, Jess.
Oh, hey, Jess. We were just not talking about you.
We weren't even thinking about you.
Yeah, we weren't even thinking about you at all. Hey, Jess. Katie was just revealing some of her character information. So I'm very excited for all of you to start revealing some of your character information to people because I'm so excited. Just excited about what you guys are doing. So
it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. Also, this is so different than the start of the other dungeon run, or like our last campaign, because that process was very different than this. We didn't have as much time, so yeah. And
Ken Bonds, that was kind of. Ken Bond says you need a monk, and I was like, well, that was sort of what I was hoping somebody would do, is take the Ursaka and become monk, because that long clawed. That really gives a monk a boost for sure. And for me, I want fan art of a monk bear person. I just want it. Cool.
Maybe a multi-class. A druid monk.
A druid monk, yeah. We've got a question from... Jess, she's going to play an Ursaka druid of the Circle of Stars. Alpine Ursaka.
Alpine.
Sprinkwinkle says, are you referencing any First Nations belief systems in the campaign's lore / construction? Sprinkwinkle, as I am not a First Nation individual, it has been my particular feel of that I should avoid those things. I don't know anything. I know about them because I've read about them, but they are not from my own reality. So it is not. I do not feel it is my place to be able to take from there. So for me, I stick to things that I do know, like. We're not really using any existent spirituality at all in the campaign so far. Yeah. It has all been manufactured from scratch in terms of the pantheon, the cultures of each of the peoples, and all of that. So we're trying to make sure that that's the way we do about this. That's right. That's exactly right.
World for all.
Fantasy world. That's correct. For everyone.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Very, very aware of that within this too. We've definitely had
Correct.
those conversations.
Yes, we have. And likely we should, right? Absolutely should be having those conversations. Exactly. Everyone should be having those conversations because there are plenty of storytellers that know those realities very well and that should be given the spotlight for them to highlight their own stories, which is absolutely what we want to do here on the Dungeon Run, especially with characters and stories going forward. So,
but what Ron does know is bears.
I do know bears. Those I do know. I feel like I am one, so therefore I can speak of them.
Identify as a bear.
And also idiots, which is why I create a lot of those in my D&D campaigns. I know Katie doesn't like it when I call myself an idiot. I know it. I mean it in the best way. I mean it in keeping me humble. That the more I know, the less I know. But then again, I would call everyone an idiot, and that might not necessarily be good either.
I mean, I call everybody ding-dongs, so...
Right, it's the same thing.
It took you all a while to realize that I wasn't insulting you, and that it was a term of endearment. The first couple of times, everyone's like, why are you calling me a ding-dong?
Yeah.
I'm like, I mean that nicely.
Yeah. Well, look, I loved ding-dongs when I was a kid. They were a delicious, delicious snack. And I think at one point they were called King Dons, and then went back to Ding Dongs. Yep.
King Dongs? Ding Dongs?
King Dons, and then went back to Ding Dongs, because I think they're Ding Dongs again. But I don't know. I haven't had them in a while. They're not very good for you.
Yeah. No, they're not. Yeah. They were never a beacon of health, that's for sure.
No, they were not. Yeah, zebra cakes, for example. I've eaten way too many zebra cakes in the world, and I haven't eaten one in many years, and probably would never.
I was never allowed to have any of that stuff as a kid, so there's so much of it I haven't had.
Gotta be lucky. You might have lucked out there. I had way too much candy, and still do. So, gummy bears being my candy of choice.
Yeah, that's a hard one. Gummy bears are hard to stop.
Yes, they are.
Wait, I saw. Oh, you should have your character want to sleep all the time in the winter. Yeah, hibernating. Winter,
I thought about
my middle name.
I thought about putting that in somewhere, like they do with grung. The grung they put in, they have to be in the water every so often, and I thought it would be like with bears, they have to sleep longer than normal.
I have to take an extra long rest.
So you can't your rest isn't 8 hours. It's every 6 months. 1 month of your rest must be 12 instead of 8. But then I was like, that's just overly restrictive.
I like a character that just for a full couple months has to leave the party because they have to rest.
Sorry, guys. I gotta go sleep. I'll be back. Trust me, it'll be fine. You don't want me around if I'm not sleeping, I promise.
Just slowly burying myself in a little hole.
Well, as a druid, you'd be perfect for it, Perfect. Like, I'm just gonna sleep in this tree. I'll see you guys in 6 months.
Honestly, kind of love it.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, sounds like fun.
It's so funny because I'm like, your party's kind of forgotten about you by the time you get back, and then they're like, oh, right.
Oh, you're here.
We have a druid in this party.
Hey, I knew you were gone the whole time. Yeah.
So funny. What? Oh, I mean, I know you talked about it the other night, but like the reason, I guess, why we went with the Alpine for my character. Do you want to talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, I mean,
you kind of recommended. I kind of told you about my character, and then you
right.
kind of recommended, and we agreed that this was the best. But then,
well, yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say. So then there is the more like, forgive me, I'm gonna get these names wrong. Like the polar bear type version, which is the what is it called?
The Arctic.
Arctic. Thank you.
Yeah.
And then the sun bear. Right?
Not sun bear,
bear,
more like grizzly. Yeah, taiga. Those are the taiga.
The taiga. And so, do you want to tell people why you recommended the Alpine to me versus
absolutely.
the other? Yeah,
absolutely. in discussing a little bit, I don't want to reveal any of your character backstory or any of that yet, because that will come over time. But given the conversation about that, and specifically that you chose the Circle of Stars, I thought it would fit better if, with Alpine Ursaka, they get a climb speed of 30 feet, and a lot of the trees are very big, like the giant fir tree, red ones that we have here in the U.S. So it made sense that an Alpine Ursaka who climbs trees would be fascinated by the sky above them.
Yeah.
So I thought that would be fitting.
I love that.
Yeah.
And the part of the island felt really good for a druid. I mean, a druid could be everywhere, but like where you kind of envisioned the Alpine Ursaka kind of coming from.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely. And it's the grizzlies, it's the taigas that are really more like political bears, or ones who rely on strong collective opinion of a political nature. So like making sure to save the forest, or making sure, some similar to what circles, what druid circles do, but of their own kind. So, yeah.
And what about the Arctic? What's their like driving force?
For the Arctic, it's more individualistic. So they're heavily, they form strong nuclear families, with most adults choosing to live in isolation if they don't have children. And a lot of that is just from where they're from. The Arctic, there aren't a lot of things in the Arctic, right? Even if you go and watch nature documentaries, they talk about like polar bears, and the size of their regions are huge, are miles, hundreds of miles, because there's so few of them.
Right.
Even when they were, even when they weren't endangered, there were so few of them, just because of the nature of the Arctic environments. So, it's a lot of, trying to think of stories that do that really well, where they make it clear that like when you live in, Icewind Dale is a perfect example. There's a lot of hard decisions that have to be made when the environment around you is harsh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hello.
Jess, we have not revealed anyone else. I didn't want to out anyone of their own characters. I wanted them to have the freedom to do that on their own.
I outed myself.
Yes, she outed herself. I mean, we discussed it. I was okay with her outing herself here.
Yeah.
But Jess, it also might be one thing that we save for a cooldown. Just saying.
Yeah.
Totally up to you. Hey, Jared's in the audience.
Hi,
Hello, Jared. I am homebrewing your subclass. Would you like me to tell them the name, Jess? Would you like me to reveal here on the cooldown?
I haven't heard it.
The subclass. Are you ready for that, or you want to hold it? It's totally up to you, because I'm doing it for you. Yes?
She says yes.
All right.
OMG,
we are introducing a new cleric subclass called Storm Song Domain. So,
cool.
I've been working on it for a while. Storm Song. I've been working on it for a little while. I'm almost done. I'm done with all the ones that you would really need. Like, I've done all of the first up to, I think, I forgot what progression subclasses are for clerics. But I've done all the ones up to level 11, I think, is it. The one after 6th.
Whoa, Jess didn't even know what she was?
Yeah, that was why I asked her if she wanted, because she also gets to hear it for the first time. Yeah, it's called Storm Song.
Oh, I didn't process
Storm Song
that.
Domain.
Wow, I hope
Storm
she's doing
Song.
okay. Jess,
I hope so too.
are you doing okay? Hyperventilating with excitement at your apartment? Oh my gosh, based on the emojis she put in chat.
I'm so glad that you're excited about that. I'm so glad you're excited about that. I'm so excited. This is a part of DMing that I really enjoy. I really enjoy this kind of stuff with like surprising your players with cool things, for them to build their characters around and use to help them tell stories. And helping Jessica and talking to her about her character concept and then coming up with this domain has been, it's been very fulfilling for me lately. It's been what I do for fun lately, which says a lot. So
yeah.
Scourge of Neltoth says writers of the Storm Song subclass. Well done, Scourge. Well done. Well
Oh
done.
man. I mean, like, even just knowing that Jess is playing a cleric and I'm playing a uh druid. I always can't say my thing right.
Yeah.
Druid. It's already like it's gonna be so different.
So
It's gonna
different.
be
It's
so
gonna be
different
so
than our
different.
last campaign. Like
Yeah.
that dynamic already is so different.
Yep, already so different. It's so fun. Black Symbiote, yes, I can highly recommend any of R.A. Salvatore's works. I've been reading them since I was a teenager. Most of the works that he has written, I've been around Dritz Durden, for sure. Jared can also highly recommend those. We've had plenty of conversations about
Jared,
that
I
entire.
see you in chat. I know it. I couldn't think of the word.
You're a
He's
druid
trolling me.
king.
Jared's trolling me.
He is.
It's maybe Jared's favorite pastime.
I also want to spread the word about a cool website that Jared and I have started using in order to keep track of things. Because when you're
hotmail.com.
It's just email, guys. It's just email. We just email each other back and forth.
It's great. It's like a note that we can send back and forth.
Jess, it is going to be up to you how much of your subclass is singing versus not. I didn't want to pimp you out that way. You know what I mean? Like, you got to sing everything. I'm going to leave it up to you. It's a lot of it is based around song and the concepts of singing, specifically around vocal. So I will leave up to you how you implement that. We can work on it together, but totally up to you. Are there any pole dancing elements? No, I also didn't do that for a variety of reasons, but I can. If that's something you very much want, I will discuss with Jared, and we will find out if that can happen. I don't know how that would work, actually. Like, do you just summon a pole in the middle of the battlefield and use it as a staff?
Well, I have a tree situation with my character, so I could like clear the tree off, debranch it for the pole.
And Dicey Capes, Polar Master. That's where my head goes to.
Yeah, man. And Jess and I can work together, and I can take the branches off the trees, and then she can use the tree as a pole. Feels perfect.
I want to. Now it makes me want to create a subclass that has an ability called Dance Montage. The Dance Montage. Obviously, lots of options for us to include that kind of stuff, I guess, if that is truly the way you want to tell stories. Absolutely. Polar bears dance off. That's how they.
Polar bears.
That's how they. They used to wrestle. Now they just pole dance offs. That's what they do. They just pole dance offs. All right, whoever pole dances better wins, and they win the argument.
Wow. Honestly, I love it.
Trial by combat,
over war,
but with pole dancing.
Yeah, great.
It's how you settle. It's how you settle political disputes.
Mm-hmm. The arena of pole dancing.
The arena of pole dancing. Now there just needs to be a domain, the pole dancing domain. The god of pole dance.
Circle of the pole.
Oath of the pole.
Oath of the pole.
It's a paladin. It's an interesting paladin.
A pole bard. I mean, you could do it with any class.
Yeah, really, any class. Yeah.
Any class you could incorporate the pole.
Pole wizard.
I'm
school
a pole
of the
wizard.
school of pole.
A warlock and your patron is a pole. Okay, I'm really reaching now.
It's a sentient pole. It's just.
It's kind of like the immovable rod, but it's just
that's exactly what I was going to say. It's a sentient, immovable rod. Katie, please run a satire campaign so Jess can be a warlock of the pole, the sentient pole dance patron, and there's so many options.
It talks just like Shathragat, but it's a pole.
You know what you want. You know what I want. Dance.
Oh man. This is what happens when you get Katie and I in a room.
Yeah, this is why I fear any campaign I'll ever DM. Just because it's not going to make sense.
It's just gonna descend into inside jokes and puns.
Yeah, people will be like, "Where's the combat?"
Hey, Jess says, sentient pole that you dance on sounds not family friendly. Yeah, I think pole dancing in general is probably not necessarily family friendly.
Yeah, but we can make it family friendly.
Oh, absolutely.
PG pole.
Maypoles.
PG pole dance.
Kids used to dance around maypoles all the time and sing about dead things, about the plague. So
yeah, I mean, a lot of nursery rhymes aren't really family.
That's what I mean. Yeah,
really
exactly. That's exactly the point I'm making. Nursery rhymes, not so family friendly. That's another. I think I told you guys last time. If God forbid, if Red ever were to pass on in Fortune and Fate, God forbid, gods forbid, I have an idea for an ogre bard who sings nursery rhymes.
Oh.
And they're all going to be the like plague, the terrifying nursery rhymes. Absolutely. Yes, JT Justice, Gabe's forbid.
Oh my gosh. Well, we're going like wildly off course, which is what you're here and what you should expect if Ron and I are on the cooldown. But does anyone have any questions before we wrap up for today? Any burning? I mean, I feel like you and Jared maybe covered a lot.
Yeah, we did.
And we can't reveal too much, so
right.
And we want there to be surprises. But if anyone's feeling extremely curious about anything, I'm excited to be able to like have my character base of it out there so everyone knows. Oh, Jess wants to know if you can tell us one feature of the Storm song. One tiny feature.
I will tell you a feature. As part of the adoption of the subclass domain at first level, you get access to the nature and performance skills, and you get the innate ability to speak with sparrows.
What?
And I'll leave it at that.
Cool.
I'll leave it at that. The innate ability to speak with sparrows.
Sparrow song. Sparrow speak?
Sparrow speak.
Sparrow speak.
Yes, Jess, specifically sparrows.
Not crows.
Not crows.
JT
not birds of any kind other than sparrows.
Lily could speak to seagulls.
She could. And
sea
seagulls did not speak very well.
Sea creatures, no. It was not useful, but I did use it multiple times, shockingly, during our campaign.
Dasmir, how dare you ask me that?
Oh my gosh. Wow, I'm so excited. I'm so excited to learn all about this world.
I will also say, think if you're not familiar, for those of you who are like, sparrows, why not crows? Think about what sparrows stand for. They are heavily symbolic in many different religions and cultures. I highly recommend you do a little bit of look into that a little bit. It's very cool.
Research.
Sparrows are a fascinating species. Yep, as thus Just 10 says, there's very many different species of sparrows. Teamwork, joy, freedom, a lot of different things for sure.
Next cooldown, we will just be reviewing all 43 types of sparrows. So.
Lark, song. I actually have a friend who's a biologist, and I was asking her yesterday at the Ren Fair of, can you what species of sparrow do we find in California? And she was like, well, lark and song sparrows are the most common. I was like, oh, all right, cool.
We have a lot of birds at our house, speaking of birds, that like sing at night, and it weirds me out because I'm used to like birds singing in the morning, and they're like night birds, city birds.
Yeah, the ones, I don't know about you guys, but here where we're at, parrots.
Oh yeah.
Like entire schools of parrots.
Yeah, it's funny. They're the Burbank parrots is where they originated, and it's like this whole lore because no one knows. They're not indigenous to this area. Like they're not sure if they escaped from the zoo at one point or they like a domesticated one got out and then like or a couple got out or something like that. But they're these parrots that like you can tell they're not supposed to be here in the wild because their
Yeah.
flight is like very labored
And low. Their
and
flight is very
low, and
labored
they're
and low.
loud.
Yep, and they're super loud all the time. They compete sometimes, especially around like just a month or two before now. They compete with the crows because we also get a lot of crows. So it's like parrots and then crows and then parrots and crows and parrots and crows, and they're constantly calling back and forth at each other, and it's hard to
Yeah.
sleep.
Yeah, it's wild. City life.
is.
The birds of city life.
It's wild, man. It's wild, man.
Oh man.
That's what it is.
All right.
I think that's it.
I
We
think
covered a lot
answered all the
today.
question, and now we're
We
just
did.
talking about birds, which, as much as I love it,
You'd rather be talking to your mom, I'm sure. Well, thank you everyone for joining us today. We've been Katie and Ron here from the Dungeon Run on the Dungeon Cooldown. Once again, thank you for all coming, giving us your questions, asking, being curious about what we're doing and what we're as we move forward. I also want to thank all of our Patreon supporters, excuse me. Thank you very much. Without you, again, this show and all of our shows would not be possible. So thank you very much. And on that note, I think that's humankind.
be
Be
both.
both, and we'll see you next time.
Happy Monday, everyone.